Welcome to Get Organized at Work. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, healthcare leader, mom of three, and your go-to guide for ditching the chaos and taking control of your workday. This is the show where we turn overwhelming to-do lists into clear, actionable plans so you can crush your goals and show up as your best self at work and in your life. Whether you're here for strategies to stay ahead or systems to simplify your workday, you're in the right place. Let's get organized, have some fun, and make this year your best year in your career yet. Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to Get Organized at Work podcast. I'm Kayla. I'm your host, and today is day 11 of the 12 days of leadership. I've been having a lot of fun with this series, and don't worry, these last couple episodes are going to be some of the most demanded ones. Today, we're talking about how to prepare for a promotion. We're going to talk about visibility, confidence, and leadership identity. So in my free podcast community, people talk about what they want to work on this year. And also, I get a lot of questions from you in the email about what you want to hear about on the podcast. And people will say, quote, I want to be promoted, or quote, I want to be seen as more strategic. I'll also hear from people to say, hey, I'm a new manager, I'm a new director, and I know I need systems, or I want to build my confidence as a leader, and I'm ready to prepare for the next level. So if any of that resonated with you, if you're like, yes, I need that promotion, or I don't know how to proactively go for it, this is the right place for you. So today we're going to be talking about leadership identity, visibility, confidence, delivering outcomes, how to prepare for the promotion proactively, not passively. We're going to be taking control of this, and how to become the kind of leader whose work speaks before they enter the room. That's the goal. So this is the episode that's going to help you step into your 2026 next level leadership era. So let's dive in. So first off, I want to talk about how promotion starts with identity. It's not just a title that we're seeking. Most people think promotions are about years of experience, checking boxes, or even being the next in line. But the truth is, promotion begins when you start acting and being like the next level leader before anyone hands you the title. It's up to you. Your identity shapes your behavior, and behavior shapes your outcomes, and your outcomes shape how you are perceived, or the perception. So perception is what shapes your opportunity. I know that's a tongue twister, but how you are perceived is what's going to set you up the best for a promotion. I'm just keeping it real. So this means the first step is asking yourself, who is the version or the future version of me that is already in the role that I want? And you can think about, what do they focus on? What do they say no to? What do they measure? What do they prioritize? What do they outsource or delegate? What do they think about daily? What do they bring to meetings? And when I first stepped into this next level leadership role, when I was working to be manager and then system level manager, and even thinking about what would it look like for me to be a director and beyond, I had to shift from I'm a great doer to I'm a strategic leader with, and I'm stewarding a vision. I've got a vision. So really, you need to think about your identity first and your title second. It's just like when we talk about getting organized, I talk about outcomes first and then processes and to-dos. You can work backwards from the person you want to be and then figure out where that puts you or where that ends up being. It honestly doesn't matter what your title, it's what you are wanting for the future and what that identity is. All right, next, I want to talk about visibility and how visibility isn't about promoting yourself. It's not like fancy or self-promoting or even selfish or narcissistic. It's leadership. So many people get stuck here. You don't want to brag, or you don't want to hog the spotlight, or you don't want to seem like you're self-serving, always talking about I, or me. But I want to reframe this for you. Visibility is leadership. It's not self-promotion, because visibility creates clarity around your role, trust with executives, confidence with your team, alignment across your organization, and visibility also creates recognition of your strategic contributions. And visibility ultimately builds sponsorship, which is very different from mentorship. On the one hand, a mentor will talk to you, but a sponsor will talk about you when you're not in the room, right? They're the person who's advocating for you and knows you and is like, they would be great for this next level role, someone who's going to be your advocate. So how do you build visibility? There's 3 simple ways to do this. The first one is to share outcomes, not hours, right? We're not talking about, oh my gosh, I spent all this time working on this thing. It took forever and the drama llama. We're talking about what we were able to accomplish, what our teams were able to accomplish through our leadership. Number 2, we communicate progress and barriers clearly and proactively. We are escalating when appropriate, and we are informing and keeping people in the know so no one's caught off guard. And number 3 is owning your expertise. I don't want you to shrink what you know. I want you to create awareness of your expertise, but also the fact that you are helping others grow and that you are spreading that expertise across your team. So the goal really here is to make it easy for people to understand what you're leading, the problems you solve, the value you bring, which is huge, and then, of course, the results you deliver. This is leadership branding, and it's really not optional anymore. You don't necessarily get promoted just from doing a great job or a lot of tasks. You've got to have the it factor, and I'm telling you, this is the it factor. You may be listening to this and thinking like, wow, this is a lot. And I'm not going to lie, I do think it is. Leaders have really high expectations now. And I remember leading prior to the pandemic and then after it. And there are a lot of responsibilities and accountabilities of leaders to get it right. And I want to say, you're not going to be perfect when you're going for promotion. You're not going to be perfect as you're stepping into new roles or leading or trying to get organized. That's not the goal. We want to see that you're trying, that you have the right mindset, that you're asking for support to get that right approach with your teams. This is how you will be recognized as a next level leader, somebody who is adapting to the current environment, listening, has their ear low to the ground, but then keeping that vision in place. And that's where when people see you doing this, it will be easy for you to get a mentor and hopefully a sponsor to help advocate for you at the next level. I remember when I was put up for the idea of the manager role 7-8 years ago, I guess, my director at the time had put me on a project all about missing specimens. And I remember she pulled me aside and said, hey, I would like you to be in this project. And at the time, I remember thinking like, I didn't even know you knew who I was. And she was like, hey, I heard about your expertise in quality, and I would really like somebody with a quality mindset on this team. And I thought, oh, that's great. And I wondered how she heard about it. And I'm guessing it was from my leader or others I worked with. So just by showing up and sharing the value you bring, someone like my director saw that in me and thought, oh, here's a different project. Let's basically give her a test and see how she does. And I truly believe that being on that project helped her show like, yeah, I feel like she'd be ready for something at the next level. And she was there to advocate for me when I became the manager. So just thinking it through, it's as simple as that, being able to translate what you do into the value you can bring on a broader level for a system, a company, a team, a group of people. Let's talk about delivering outcomes that align to strategic priorities. If you want to move up, it's not enough to simply do your job well. We've talked about that. Promotion happens when your work moves the organization forward. So, how can you figure this out? What are some questions you can ask yourself? So these are questions that kind of put you in the mindset of an executive or a senior leader. First question would be, what keeps senior leadership awake at night? What are they thinking about? And oftentimes executives' jobs, part of it is to mitigate risk. So they're thinking about what are the biggest issues in our organization that have really big risk right now? And how can the people that work for the org help mitigate that? How can I help mitigate that? Second question would be this: how does my work reduce cost, improve quality, or increase efficiency? Thinking about those big bucket items related to expense, which is a huge part of what drives an organization forward. Sad to say, but no money, no mission, right? Even if you're a nonprofit, how can we make sure the work that we're putting out is high quality for our customers, our patients? How do we do that well, efficiently for our teams, reduce barriers for our teams? Third question would be, which projects directly support our strategic plan. So if you don't know what the strategic plan is, go find that out. Go talk to your leadership about it. Or if you do, think about, okay, if I'm looking at all the work, my portfolio right now, how does it directly fit into these various buckets or goal areas of our strategic plan? And if it doesn't, that's kind of a wake-up call like, hey, maybe I need to realign my work. And if it does, it's like, okay, cool. Maybe I can start showing how this work drives value towards helping us meet our strategic plan. Maybe it's more of a translating communication type of thing of let me showcase what I'm doing. So here's the secret. Work that matters gets noticed. Work that doesn't stays invisible, even if it's hard work, right? So there's kind of two parts to it. Number one, if the work that you're doing is adding great value to the org, usually it gets noticed. But secondly, if you're not advocating, if you don't have a sponsor, if you're not sharing the value, it might not get noticed and it might stay invisible, even if it's good or hard work. So I want you to focus on measurable outcomes of your work, return on investment of your work, solving root problems, elevating your team, and aligning your work with the organizational strategy. Your outputs or your outcomes become your evidence of your leadership. So evidence builds your confidence, right? Like, oh, I'm doing the good things, the right things. My team's doing a great thing. It's my leadership. Both your good outcomes and results and your teams can be evidence that you're ready for the next level and a promotion. All right, so we've talked about how we need to create visibility around our work, but how do we do that? And it's all about the proper communication and communication style. So we want to communicate like the role that you want. Promotable leaders communicate with clarity. They're concise, right? Senior leaders, executive leaders, they don't have time, nor do they want to read full paragraphs about the value you bring. They love bullet points. They love dashboards. They love graphics. Also, promotable leaders communicate with calmness. They're not flying off the handle or reacting to every situation. And they're also communicate with courage. They might speak truth to power, be comfortable sharing some, quote, crazy ideas because they know that they're good ideas and they might benefit the organization. So there is a 3C communication framework that you can use. Kind of tried to break it down to make it easy for you to remember. So you want to think about context, then current state, then conclusion. So this makes your message streamlined, senior leader or executive friendly, and strategic. So examples from my world that I might want to communicate would be project updates, escalations, data summaries, requests for resource, and project reports. So when your communication becomes crisp, strategic, you stand out really quickly because most people are just not, right? So let's say project updates. I think with senior leaders, they like to know things are green or red, and they need to know if you have any barriers. Otherwise, I wouldn't spend my whole one-on-one or meeting going over the updates. I might share that in a streamlined dashboard. Escalations, they might be on my dashboards as well, but I might share that with context. I don't want anybody to think I'm freaking out or I don't have it under control, but I might say, hey, so here's where the project has been. Here's where we hit a bump in the road. This is the barrier we're facing, and this would be what we need from you, right? So be really clear, like, what is it that I actually need from you, leader? It could be, I need your advice. I need your approval. I need you to speak to someone. I need you to help me make this decision. I need you to make a decision, right? So give context around where things are, but frame it in a way that shows that you've got it, but you also aren't afraid to ask for help because you don't want to let this project die or you don't want the project to fail. So give context, share current state, and then end with a conclusion. Tie everything up in a nice bow. Keep it super streamlined. Use bullet points, dashboards, wherever you can. Now, I feel like I could go into communication, doing SBARs, communication plans, so much more. And so if you are interested in this, I do teach how to communicate using project dashboards as well as roadmaps and my communication plan framework inside my Get Organized at Leader sprints. And I also do a bit of this in my Organized Leader Blueprint course that is linked in the description below if you want to check that out. I know that people struggle a lot with communication just because it can be nuanced. So if this is something you need help with, definitely check out the links and sign up or snag the course inside my podcast community. The last big piece of this podcast, I want to talk about building relationships that support your growth. The fact is, you can't and we cannot rise alone. It's really hard to climb the ladder without anyone to support you, without any sponsorship, without anyone giving you guiding principles. And so promotion is rarely just about performance. It's about relationships and it's about partnership. So I want you to start by identifying who needs to know about your work, who can champion your growth, who you would want to collaborate, and who can give you honest feedback. And then I want you to ask yourself, how often am I intentionally nurturing these relationships or interfacing with these people? Strategic relationship building is leadership. It's not office politics. I know I see a lot of Instagram reels about, quote, playing the game of leadership. And while I do not love how it's called playing the game, there is something to be said for this. There are unspoken rules in leadership and in corporate, and they're not meant to be terrible, I would say, in most cases. It's just that there are different levels of professionalism and leadership, and you've got to talk to the right people. It's sort of like when you buy a home and you're looking for a realtor. It's so much nicer to have that warm introduction to a realtor that your best friend used, that they had a great experience with, versus a random realtor that you just found on a website. Leadership is the same. You're so much more likely to get promoted internally when you know the right people instead of being cold promoted and hoping someone's going to think about you. They might not even know that your awesome leadership exists. So start thinking about building these relationships in 2026. And if you think I should do another podcast on this episode, let me know, because I think this one might be really interesting. All right, so let's kind of summarize. This is sort of, I'll call it a roadmap or a leadership blueprint for promotion. Here are some of the core pillars that I think will help prepare you for the next level role. So number one, identify who you become. So what's your identity? Number two, you need systems, structure that keeps you strategic. 3, you want to focus on outcomes, work that truly matters. 4, visibility, communicating your value. 5, partnerships, which are relationships that elevate your work. And 6, consistency, showing up proactively. So if you build these 6, you don't chase promotion, the promotion starts moving toward you, right? You're putting out this energy into the universe and saying, I'm ready. And all of a sudden, more opportunities are going to come your way because you're being more visible. All right, so I want you to know that promotions are not about luck in most cases, hopefully. It's about intention, identity, and the daily habits of a leader who knows where they're going. You've got to take your career into your own hands, and it's your own responsibility. And if you want support building systems that help you show up like that leader, having the it factor, the Organized Leader Sprint is designed exactly for this. We'll build your leader standard work, your strategic routines, your clarity, your confidence, your alignment, your leadership identity. So if you're interested in that, like I said, check out kfaconsulting.org/sprint or the link in the description below. And all the details will be there. We're open enrolling until the 16th of December. I would love to support you in your next chapter. All right, tomorrow is day 12, our final day, and we're building your 2026 leadership blueprint and wrapping the series up with something special. I will see you then. Bye.